You're listening to the Holistic Health Front podcast.
Whether you've already taken steps towards a healthier life,
or you're just starting to explore this path,
this podcast aims to help all of us live longer and more energized lives,
so we can all do the things we want and be the person we know we can be.
We bring on functional health experts, parents, professionals, and everyday people who want to make positive changes in their lives.
And we create powerful conversations about how to feel good in a fun, easy, and understandable way,
so you can live the most fulfilling life possible.
Enjoy today's discussion and let us hear your thoughts in our Powerful People Facebook group.
The information presented in this podcast is not meant to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent, or mitigate any disease.
If you have any questions about your health or the health of a loved one, please consult your healthcare practitioner.
Now let's begin.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Holistic Health Front podcast. As you well know, we are a bunch of health coaches and health warriors that are out there trying to provide some information, education, and fun in the wellness industry. And tonight, we are super excited because we have a very special guest. I love our podcast, but I love our podcast more when we have a special guest. And I know Shannon's shaking her head. It's just more fun when we can get a guest on there. So one of our coaches, Shannon, she's been with us forever, but Shannon has worked with this particular guest. So I'm going to let Shannon introduce our guest tonight. And then we're just going to open it up and learn some really interesting, fun things from our guest. So Shannon, who have we got with us tonight?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So tonight I am so honored to have Miss Michelle Pryor with us. She owns and helps operate Life Priority, a supplement company. She has a bachelor's in psychology and sociology, and over the past 30 years, she's taken on numerous health and wellness courses, including Vassar and Clayton College, and she also graduated from IIN, the same place Steph and I graduated from last year. So yay, fellow IIN students.
Yes, a fellow classmate.
A little bit more about Michelle. We used to work together when I was at Transformation Enzymes. Michelle and I collaborated many times with the enzymes and coupling those with her supplements that her company sells to best help some of her coaching clients and the doctors that she works with, some of their patients. And we just had a blast doing it, and we connected. We got to meet in person when we went to the event in Vegas. That was, I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
Supply Side West.
There it was, Supply Side West. And it was so much fun. So yay, Michelle, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you guys for inviting me. My husband and I started Life Priority in 1994. He had been a professional athlete and pushed his body to the limits and would do some very unusual things to try to stay healthy, from growing sprouts on garbage cans and, eating tons of fruits and vegetables. You'd hardly ever see him doing any sugar or sodas or pop. I mean, he was just very intent on being as healthy and active as he could. Now, Greg played in the 70s. At that time, they didn't have the exercise coaches and all the other things that, stretching and all those things. So it was kind of up to each individual player to kind of make up your own set of circumstances that you would do. And Greg was fortunate enough to play 16 years professional ball. And where does a ball player go after sports, especially if they love other sports like golf and everything? So it was kind of a natural thing for us to go into the health and nutrition arena. I knew nothing about it. I do have a degree in psychology. I'd studied a lot of things about behavior and all that kind of stuff, but not a whole lot was ever written or done about how diet and nutrition impacted the behavior of individuals. Nowadays, you can find so much about bipolar and the benefits from omega-3 and that type of stuff. So it's very intriguing. I am the type of person who loves to be a helper. I think I was made to be a counselor or, a partner in the journey to health because I love it. I enjoy it. And I met Shannon because I had inherited a group of large Amish people who were utilizing enzymes and I knew nothing about. So Shannon was my go-to person when I had questions. And one particular customer had 5 kids, and because of the Amish community and they're very close in genetics and all that stuff, she had a lot of problems with her kids, a lot of recessive gene issues. And to make a long story short, Shannon, her and her family are down to half of what they used to be. Their kids have grown, all those good things. So all that process that Shannon and I went through about educating each other, learning, was great. So that's how I met Shannon. We've been friends ever since, and it's been over 10 years.
Wow, that's super exciting. So just to our listeners, we did interview Dr. B on a previous episode about enzymes. So if you want to look that up, fascinating information about enzymes. They're not just for digestion, kids. They're for so much more. But back to you. So Michelle, I have been involved in health and wellness for professionally for about 20 years, but personally have been interested my whole life. My mom, and dad, were always good about no junk food. You have to eat your fruits and vegetables and eat the stuff that's good for you. But how does a person, Michelle, and your husband, Greg, how does a person decide what motivates a person to create a supplement company? I'm out there digging for research and digging for, resources, but never once in my brain have I been like, you know what? I'm just going to brew something up in my kitchen and put it on a shelf. Maybe somebody will buy it. Like, I want to hear the story. I'm really intrigued because that requires passion, focus, determination. It's not a random thing that you just do. So right. I want to get into your mind and get into that time of your life. How did that happen?
Well, that's a great question. Greg had run into 2 scientists, and they wrote the book Life Extension, Dirk Pearson and Sandy Shaw. Dirk is a triple major, triple minor out of MIT. And in the 70s, with taking the triple major, he noticed that he was tired, lethargic. He thought, well, I'm smart enough to figure out how to use nutrients or something to help me be better than, sodas or coffee, because we all know, you can burn the candle at both ends. And then he was getting sick. So that's what started Dirk down that journey. And for me, I was the analytical one because I'm like you, who is truly qualified in understanding the body, all the chemistry, the dynamics that it takes to truly make something to do no harm. Because there's been a lot of different products that have been medically created by, different people that have caused people problems,
yes.
And that type of stuff. So I wanted to look for integrity. So did Greg. We met Dirk and Sandy. We analyzed their background back and forth and used their products for almost 4 years before we decided to create our own company, because we wanted to protect the quality and the integrity of the products. At that point, there were 2 other companies that were competitors. Right now, I think we are the only ones that have the licensed products that Dirk and Sandy create.
Wow. And Dirk and Sandy are scientists.
Yeah, she's from UCLA. They're like salt and pepper together when you hear them. If you do go to our website, they've done some podcasts together. Sandy actually is a cancer survivor from 1978. And so her vocal cords, you don't hear as well because it was through the parathyroid gland, and has some hearing issues now. But 50 years later, they were one of the first ones that did radiation and immunology rather than some of the traditional medical things, because she was given less than 3 months to live.
Wow.
Yep.
So basically, you have scientists that are dealing with their own personal health struggles, and they dove in and said, we're going to figure this out. We're going to look at the body, the immune system, the functions, all the stuff. And they created formulas to support their well-being and their journey back to health.
Absolutely.
And so it's not just somebody who is getting a paycheck to create a supplement. It's somebody who is literally looking for a new lease on life.
Well, in Dirk's whole thought process and premise on life, and the name of their book is Life Extension, was to improve the quality of life until term, so that, you know, they would be fully functional, and active until the very end. And Dirk is 80. He's a rancher. He brands his own cattle. I talk to him at least once or twice a week on different things. We collaborate. He still is very active in research. And, you know, I've known him for 30 years. They practice what they preach, Stephanie. And for me, when I first found the vitamins after Greg did, because I thought he was, you know, a little off. These people sounded too good to be true. I started using the vitamins for the brain and the lift and the mind, because having had 3 small children under the age of 5, I was hormonally, physically, and mentally exhausted and was not doing any of the right things to help me get back my health, let alone have the patience to deal with 3 small kids under 5.
So, and you said Lift. I just want to, for our listeners, that's the name of one of your products?
It is.
Okay. And Mind, did you say Mind was the other one?
Mind, they are both powdered drink mixes, and you can take them separately. Some people just need choline, which helps the brain with focus and concentration. Some people may need a little bit of L-phenylalanin, B vitamins, to get them to have the energy level that they need versus coffee.
This episode is brought to you by oxygen and carbon dioxide. Breathe deep, breathe slow. Are you tired of nagging headaches, body pains, and feeling like you've been steamrolled by 2 p.m.? Ugh. Want to feel more alive with a clearer mind, voice, and skin?
Yep.
And not to mention getting rid of that pesky BO when the deodorant starts to wear off?
Ew.
Introducing to you today, water. Did you know that 75% of American adults are chronically dehydrated? And did you know that majority of people who are dehydrated think that they actually are hydrated? That means most people are not drinking enough water. But if they did, and they realized how much of a massive difference it makes in how they feel to be hydrated, they would realize that water can change their life. So drink more water. Aim for 96 fluid ounces per day minimum for adults. Side effects include peeing more often the first couple of weeks, but don't worry, it will slow down soon. I know I should really drink less caffeine. I just wish there was some way of getting energy in the morning without a coffee. Ah, the sun! Wait a minute. I feel good. Especially when I close my eyes and stare at the sun through my eyelids. Wow, this is great. I think I'm ready to crush this day now. Thanks, sun. The Sun. Use it for free with care. Hey y'all, hope you've enjoyed these goofy little commercials. The information is all accurate and valid, so please use the tips we shared. Even though we're having fun and being silly recording them, they're still 100% meant to support you and entertain you. We'll be getting back to the show in just a minute, but first, I want to really encourage you to join our free community on Facebook. It's called the Powerful People Community, and it's a place where you can interact with other listeners of the show, including me, our other coaches and co-hosts and everybody. And it's a place where you can ask questions publicly or anonymously. You can request episode topics, you can share your story, and celebrate with a group of really amazing people who will also be celebrating you. So we really hope to see you in the community. We think we're building something really special because we believe when you bring together a group of powerful people, there's just so many great things we can do in this world, more than we could do on our own. So we're building a special community, and we hope to talk to you there soon. Now, let's get back to the show.
So you're saying coffee is not the answer to my fatigue and my lethargy?
Well, it's really interesting. I have never been a coffee drinker. And when I did drink coffee, my mom was huge. I got stomach ulcers.
Oh, wow.
And I was a flight attendant who had very erratic schedules, and flying, that's what everybody did, was coffee. But the more coffee you have, it's like you're burning the candle on both ends the more you drink. Rather than helping you, it actually causes, some issues for the stomach, the pH balance, and your adrenals. So if you can take things that are more healthy, more natural, then you have better energy level. You're more productive and your brain works. In fact, the very first product that Dirk created was the mind.
And
That's
Michelle shared those products with me when I was in school as well. So I was working full time and going to school and doing the homework and studying. And, as some of you guys know, Steph and I, we were in a study group together and an accountability group together. And so that's how we got to know. So I've been taking the products for, I guess a better part of a year now. And it's
I think
great.
almost two and a half. Yeah.
2.5. Where did the time go?
Yeah.
And I will attest, I used to be a coffee drinker. I had to stop for health reasons because it was causing inflammation. And my cortisol was shot, so it wasn't helping me in any way, shape, or form. But with the lift, I can drink that in the morning, and I mix it with the mind. I just put it all together in one glass, stir and go. And I don't have the kick up, and I don't have the fallout in the afternoon. So it's much more gentle than a cup of coffee or an espresso or a cold brew could ever think of being. So it's really nice. It's real nice.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about a couple of the products, but one of the things, for those that don't know, I've been a nutraceuticals consultant for 15 years. So I've been in the supplementation industry as a consultant, not behind the scenes like Michelle has been, with the creation of products and things like that. But one of the things that I find so intriguing about Life Priority, which is Michelle and Greg's company, is that they weren't looking to make a dime. They were looking to change people's lives. And there is we do this a lot in our trainings and the classes that I take as a nutraceuticals consultant, is we talk about there's a lot of junk science out there. And I know Michelle's nodding because junk science means, we've done one little lab, one little study with a very limited number of people. And sometimes it wasn't even people that, the studies were done on. And then we get a hold of one little tagline and a result. And then everybody's going to go out and grab that and say, oh my God, this fixes health problems. This fixes heart problems. This fixes mind problems. So one of the things that I really like about Life Priority is that you guys created this company working with scientists who created supplements to save themselves, to serve themselves. And then with their discoveries and with their products, they were like, more people need to know this. More people need to know that we can combat disease states and we can create health states with supplementation. And I get a lot of pushback, Michelle, and I'm sure you do too. Why do we need to supplement? Why can't I just eat it? Like what's wrong? So I want you to speak a little bit about why supplementation is not just important, but in my world, I think it's become a necessity. And so Michelle, let's talk a little bit about why that might be the case. Why somebody like you and I would be like, this is a great supplement. And then the average person is nodding their head going, it's just another way to line your pockets. There's so much junk out there. I've been taking a vitamin C for 10 years and haven't noticed a damn thing. Get off my ass about the antioxidants. They're not changing my life. But they do. And I want to talk about the difference between the quality and the science behind it. So, Michelle, I want you to speak to that. Why do you think supplementation is important?
Well, I grew up on a farm. And when you grow up on a farm, you know how things are grown. You know how things are done. We all know that our farming and our food industry's gone through a lot of challenges. And according to some of the latest research that's been done, the fruits and vegetables as today's that have been analyzed have less than 25% of the nutrients, specifically the apples, than they used to have when they were in the 50s and 60s, when a lot of the RDAs, the DRAs were done. So I know for myself, with running, and we all try to do organic, fresh fruits and vegetables and cook, and I'm doing my protein smoothie right here to make sure I get enough protein. I am 70 years old and I've had my blood work done, and my blood work would tell you that I'm somebody in my 40s. Wow. And it's because that I have been proactive for the last 30 years. I have no joint pain, and I've had 2 severe auto accidents and wore a halo for a year on 2 different occasions because of my neck. Bad shoulder. I mean, I could go on with some of the potential injuries, but I get around mentally and cognitively. I feel good, knock on wood. Other than an accident, I am very, very proactive about my brain health, because I do know that where the brain goes, the body will follow, and in the healing process. And that's just really important. In one of my auto accidents, I had to learn how to speak again, because the jarring that happened inside my brain made the neural connections not facilitate properly. So I had to learn a process called read it, write it, repeat it, remember it. And I still do notes, write things down. But, I feel good. I don't feel like I'm 70. I feel like I can keep up with my grandkids for the most part, do all the things that I enjoy doing. And it's just about making conscious choices. And we all know that we insure our cars and our houses and, all the other things that we have in life. The most important thing that we can ensure is our health, because you never know where something's grown, where it's been, whether it truly is organic or not. I mean, Stephanie, you've been in this industry. Shannon, I met you at the Supply Side West. We've been going for 30 years. I mean, there's a lot of definitions out there that the food industry, the whatever industry you want to call them, the money industry, pushes things around. And if you don't know, you don't know. It's just like us. If we wanted to be wealthy, then we want Warren Buffett as our primary advisor. We don't want somebody who's following him. We want him to take it. Well, when Greg and I found Dirk and Sandy, that's what I found. I found 2 of the most qualified healthcare professionals that I've ever known, I've ever met, and I had them analyzed. We even analyzed Shannon's company to make sure that her formulator and that Dr. Fuller really had the credentials she did, because to me, there is nothing more important than investing in your health.
And I think that's super important, because you've taken the time to look at the quality of the supplements and who's the driving force behind the supplements. It's not just somebody that got a hold of some junk science and is out there trying to make a profit off a particular ingredient. You see this all the time in the supplement industry. A particular ingredient, I think quercetin was hugely popular during the pandemic because, everybody was talking about it to support immune health, and people were throwing it into bottles and jars and supplements without taking the quality measures necessary to produce what we need.
or even knowing what the right milligram dosage is. Here's something that's very simple. And I learned this from one of the scientists at UC Berkeley when I went to analyze some of the products we were working with Dirk and Sandy. And he said, Michelle, nobody would get up in the middle of the night with their alarm going off, turn the alarm off, and go back to bed. Because if your body has an alarm system that's telling you that you've got inflammation, you've got arthritis, you've got headaches, you've got achy joints, you've got a severe stomach ache, that your vision is starting to fail, then you need to do some exploratory things and find out what the alarm is so that the intruder doesn't totally ravage your whole house. So, for me, in dealing with those people, they kept things very simple and for me, I consider my vitamins my insurance policy. I love fish, but most people don't eat enough omega-3s. And finding quality omega-3s without the mercury and all the other things, find a quality company that the main target goal is not money. And I don't formulate anything. All I do is I try to share and tell the story of the products I use that have helped my health. Dirk and Sandy designed where the products are made, who and what ingredients, where they come from. And then everything is run through lab tests before we get the products, so we know what the variances are. And then our labs get them, and then they do their testing. So we know the quality, and then every batch of product that we run, Dirk and Sandy get bottles from it. So they use them for their own personal use. And that was because it's so expensive to test, and people will cut corners. And if there's ways to cut corners, financially, you hate to say it, but the bean counters, they look at profit margins, where we look at you're helping an individual be healthy and happy if they make better, right choices, that they're getting the full investment from their dollars that they're putting out.
I'm so glad you're talking about the quality of supplements, because they're not all created equal. They're not all created equal. And, I had the QA position at Transformation. So yes, we had to make sure that all the testing was done on the ingredients, that the ingredients were what they said they were. We reviewed. I even went to a couple of the manufacturers and verified their logs and walked their plant to ensure that everything is as it says it is. Side note, I'm from Missouri, the show me state. Show me that this is real. Show me on the label and the logs that everything matches. And there's a lot of checks and balances to make sure that everything is correctly labeled. Now, getting back to the quality, that label might have everything, and it's true that everything is on there. But what's the quality? The first place I look isn't at the top of the supplement label. It's at the bottom. What items are listed under other? How many fillers do they have in that capsule or in that pill or what have you? So Michelle, would you mind speaking a little bit more as to how Life Priority ensures that? I know you have quite the story with the FDA and everything, so.
Well, we've actually gone through 4 FDA inspections, and Dirk has been very proactive in the vitamins. In fact, they've won 8 of the claims that were first done with the FDA for antioxidants, for omega, for salt palmetto, for the B vitamins. And number 7 is for phosphatidylserine, which was one of my favorites because it's for my brain. So with that, having that nice little bullseye on your back, your standards have to be high because you're going to be tested and you're going to be tested randomly. And we have been, and everything came out good. They took pictures of our labels. They've got everything. So, plus I've worked with the same manufacturers and the same people for almost the same 20 years now. And I do and I'm open to looking at other things, but I also know that integrity is the primary thing with Life Priority, that the products work, that people get the benefits. I mean, we're talking about life and death here that can impact with someone's livelihood. This is more important than money. You can work and get money, but when you're unhealthy and you're having to try to figure out, which avenue that you go down, it makes it much more challenging. You want to be with people that can give you good advice and, do a lot of research to give you that advice so you can work with your healthcare provider. And hopefully your healthcare provider is more open and informed too.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about healthcare providers because oftentimes when I go into a doctor's office, because of my background, I'll say, I take this supplement or I want to do that supplement. And what I've discovered is that a lot of our healthcare providers, and I know this has changed in the last few years, they were not trained in nutrition. They did not have extensive training in nutrition. They were not trained in supplementation. Individual ingredients, are not something that they're trained in. They're trained in medicine and they do a good job in medicine. And, if there is an intervention that's necessary, we want a qualified medical professional there to help us with that. Obviously, you had 2 accidents, Michelle. You needed medical intervention, but you also complemented what you were doing with supplementation and quality food and quality products. So oftentimes, if you ask a healthcare provider, especially somebody that's been in the medical field for a while, they may not have the information that you need. And so I encourage people that just because your practitioner might not have the information necessary for you, please reach out to people like us, health coaches. I know Michelle's got, opportunities, to talk to people at her company, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But oftentimes they don't know. And so they will just say, I'm not sure about that. So I don't know if it's safe or not. And they're not making a bad statement, but it's enough to scare a patient away. I don't know if it's safe or not. They're not lying. They don't know if it's safe or not because they're not like you, Michelle. They haven't been in this industry. They're not like me as a consultant in this industry. I'm always being trained. I'm always doing research on my own because of my passion for helping people. So I encourage people, if you get that type of response from a medical professional, they're doing an excellent job with the information they have. But if they don't have the right information, reach out to somebody else. So I do want to say that.
Well, and what's interesting, through the course of your life, you will all learn a lot of things. When my mother got bronchitis, and it was 7 years ago, one of my first questions was, at my mom being almost 90, where are her vitamin D3 levels? Because she wasn't out, she wasn't as active. And I mean, they were so low. And it was interesting because in the beginning, the doctor kind of took it as an offense. And then when I gave him and tried to share with him the information, then he did understand. And so my mother is taking between 6,000 to 8,000 IUs of vitamin D3 a day now, and she has not had bronchitis come back. And, that is a very simple, easy one. We all know vitamin D we get from the sunshine. And here's another thing I learned, a lot of the fruits and vegetables that we're supposed to get up from our fruits and vegetables, they're not in there because they're not being given full growing seasons. They're gassed and then they're brought out, ripened. And so there's a lot of innovative, and I don't want to say it's tricks or smoke and mirrors, but I think as a consumer, the most important thing that we can educate ourselves on is the importance of our food choices that we're making, because that's either going to make us or break us.
Yeah. And you just don't know. If you're not in the industry, I mean, Shannon and I talk about this all the time. If my diet goes awry, I can tell it affects my body greatly. It affects my mental health, my well-being. But honestly, I think there's a lot of people out there that don't even know to ask the question or even consider. I do want to emphasize something you said. Michelle, you were talking about how you try to eat organic and you eat your fruits and vegetables and you eat your fish and you try to, you incorporate all those things and you add supplementation to your regime. And I do the same thing. I exercise daily and I meditate daily and I eat organic and I eat my fruits and vegetables. And I'm always harping about fiber and the right amount of protein, especially for women over the age, postmenopausal, and the list goes on and on. And I take supplementation, and I don't just take one thing. I take a lot of supplementation, and it's not because I'm trying to fight, against a particular illness. It's because I have information that supports why I'm taking this. And our foods, unfortunately, are just so deplete. The things that used to be in our soils just aren't in our soils. And like you talked about, the farming practices, the packaging, the shelf life, all of that has a negative effect on how many nutrient dense foods that you can get. So that's one thing that I want to bring up, because so many people tell me, I'm eating my fruits and vegetables. Yes, Shannon.
No, I just wanted to compliment what you're saying with, I've obviously taken plenty of supplements as well, and I've cycled through some because life has different seasons. There were different stressors. There were different things impacting my health and well-being, and I needed different supplements, and then sometimes I was taking the wrong ones, and I learned about quality and I started taking the right ones, and it greatly impacted me. And so one of the things that I've learned is when you're talking to your healthcare practitioners, talk about the proper testing. Talk about the proper testing, because, maybe your body doesn't methylate something quite right. Maybe you are getting enough nutrients from the fruits and the vegetables, but, any number of things could be happening. So it's always good to make sure that, we are definitely wanting to promote education. There's the big word I was looking for.
Right.
Educate yourself on what you're taking, why you're taking it. Help your doctor out. That's one of the great things with the coaches. You have all three of us here. We're all certified coaches to, listen and dialogue with you. What questions do you have? And let's get to the root cause and help your doctor help you feel better. So one of the things, Michelle, you brought up earlier. Go ahead.
Well, your standard medical tests aren't going to cover all those things. So you need to ask more. You need to dig deeper. And we need to ask that from our health professionals.
Very good point.
Absolutely.
So, Michelle, you had brought up earlier about making sure, or about credentialing the folks who were designing the supplements. And you had researched Dr. Fuller, who started Transformation Enzymes. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Can you elaborate on that one for us?
Well, when you're dealing with somebody's health, you want to make sure that whatever information that you're giving them, and if you tell them it's your opinion, that you're giving them the best opinion possible. And so I did some background on her to look, and we explored, met you guys out there, met the family before we ever jumped fully into doing what we were doing. So it's just been important because I work with a couple other companies that I know offer products. There's coaches that offer different things. So it's important to be aware, but nobody will know your body better. So no matter what somebody tells you, it's just important that you make your own, it's like a puzzle. Get the right pieces of the puzzle together. And Vitamins and supplements are the best insurance policy that you can have for the omega-3s, the vitamin D3s, the magnesium issues that everybody's going through. So it's just all about giving the supplemental health that you need to stay where you want to be.
Yeah. And one of the things that there's a couple of things I want to talk about because I don't want to run out of time. Oftentimes when I work with supplementation, people will read a particular statement on a label. And I want to talk about this because this can scare a lot of people. A lot of people think that supplementation is not regulated by the Food and Drug Administration. And we know that it is. It's regulated by DSHEA, which stands for the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act. That is the arm of the FDA that actually regulates supplementation. And so I want to say right here on the podcast, yes, it is, where there's a governing body that looks over supplementation. And I also want to say not all supplementation is created equal. But there's a statement that we're required to put on our products that says that these statements that are listed on our label have not been approved by the FDA. And so often somebody will come to me and they'll show me that label that says, it says right here, these statements have not been approved by the FDA. And they make the assumption that the product has not been under any quality control, that it's not regulated through DSHEA, which is, of course, an arm of the FDA. And what I want to point out is that the statements, every statement that's listed on that label has not been looked at by the FDA. But that doesn't mean that our products are not regulated. That doesn't mean that we don't have a governing body. That doesn't mean that quality controls aren't put in place. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why you want to buy from people that are qualified, that you get a good piece and that somebody is not trying to take your money.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? There are no quick fixes on anything. There are some things that can help minimize the effects, but no, most people in the supplement industry, their main ethical goal is to do no harm.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a couple of things I'm going to ask about your favorite products because I know Shannon's taken some. I've just recently started taking some. I'm going to ask Michelle about that as well. But before we do that, I wanted to ask, if I am a person that doesn't know anything about supplementation, how might I reach out to you and your company, Michelle? Is there somebody there? What's my avenue? If I jump on your website, I'm going to be kind of lost. I mean, I don't have any background in health and wellness, that type of thing. So do you offer some sort of support for people that come to your company? And what does that look like?
We do. They can call and set up an appointment, or they can do through Calendly. And what we will do was go through the products that Life Priority has. We have a questionnaire, one like we all took in class, that we got the standard forms. And then you just ask people about their life. We call it a free lifestyle consultation. So if people are drinking 3 to 4 cups of coffee and whatever, well, we might suggest Lift or Mind. If they're not sleeping, we might talk about productive sleep or calcium and magnesium. So it's very simple. Just call and say, I'd like somebody to set up a consultation. If somebody called and had some issues, like on endo, I would definitely refer them to Shannon because that's her specialty. We look for people who we know and feel will give people the best guidance, because we want healthy customers, because we'll have customers for a longer life. They'll tell their friends. I mean, we know it's just like you were talking about health and touching and holding and hugging people. It's the connection of knowing that what you're being given is the information that's going to empower you as a consumer to make healthier, more viable choices based on the things that are out there.
Well, and I think that's wonderful because I can't tell you that most companies do that. Our company does. That's why I'm a consultant and I do what I do. But to know that I can reach out to you completely uneducated about this industry, and you're going to take the time, Michelle, you're telling me right now, as a consumer, you're going to take the time to help me pick the right supplements that are going to support my unique situation and my particular health journey.
Well, and I kind of start with the basics for everybody. I try to get them on a multiple vitamin. I try to get people to use a omega-3. I try to see if people are having issues with digestion. We go with a product called Digestzyme. And that way we start them in baby steps and don't overwhelm people, because a lot of people have a lot of things going on, and you got to give them one or two wins before, most people are overwhelmed is the reason why they're not, on a better path with health.
Absolutely. And if you didn't hear it earlier in our podcast, Michelle is also a graduate from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, which is where Shannon and I both received our health coaching certifications as well. So you're dealing with somebody that really, truly knows, what she's going to talk about, and she's going to direct you to the right place. That's huge, because I think that's a big stumbling block for people is, I don't know what to take. I just know that I feel bad. I don't know what to take. Right. And that's why Shannon's point about getting tests done, there's a lot of functional medicine testing that can be done that's more expansive and more, for providing a larger picture when it comes to understanding what you need. So I just want to point out that's really big. You guys, I've been in this industry 20 years. Not a lot of people do that. They don't take the time to really get to know you and make sure that they're doing what's best for you. So kudos to your company for doing that, Michelle. I'm not a lot of our company does that, and I think that's one of the reasons Michelle and I clicked so well is that we kind of get each other. Our passion is to serve and help others as well. So I want to talk about. We've got about 10, 15 minutes left. What are some of your favorite products and why? I'm going to start with Shannon, because I know that she's, also a consumer and she's an ambassador for you as well. But Shannon, what are some of your favorite products from Life Priority and why?
I really like the Lift and the Omegas. Being, an ex-coffee drinker, I really appreciate that oomph in the morning. I don't recall ever being really a morning person that gets up and is just ready to go and hits the ground running. I'm like, no. It's just all calm down. I like it quiet, things of that sort. So having to switch over to tea doesn't really give you the same effect, but having the Lift is very nice. And like I said, it doesn't throw you up and it doesn't crash you down either. It's just nice, like, okay. Right, now I'm ready to take whatever comes. And then I also take the Omegas. I increase my dosage a week before my menstrual cycle to help reduce inflammation.
Right.
And I will continue that increased dosage for the first 2 or 3 days of my cycle to help. And I've brought through doing a few things, I've brought my pain levels at a 1 out of 10. They used to be 11, and now they're down to about a 2 or a 3. So
wow.
Combined lifestyle, diet, the appropriate supplements at the appropriate time. I had a lot of tests done. How was my liver operating? Was I detoxing correctly? Did I need extra detox? What part of me needed to detox? Right? It wasn't a quick drink mix tea off the grocery store shelf. It was, let's take a look at everything, what's going in and what's not coming back out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to take all the same supplements that I used to. So that's awesome.
Right.
So I would say, those two, Lift and Omega. And then of course I take the Mind as well. And I notice when I don't take them, I miss them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and for me, I didn't really want Greg in this industry. So he's out on the cabinet. I'd throw him back. I'd say, why did you spend this money? George Brett's a friend of ours. We got free vitamins. You don't need to spend money. And I used the Lift, and I was amazed because I was somebody who was drinking 8 to 10 Coca-Colas a day to try to keep up with my kids. So instead of doing coffee, I went for the sugar and the caffeine. And I mean, I was just in a bad place. So the L-phenylaniline in the lift is a natural mood elevator, and put in there with the vitamins, the B, and then there is 80 milligrams of caffeine, but that's pharmaceutical grade caffeine, and it's only what you would get in 2/3 a cup of coffee. So it's the spark that gives the dilator, get it past the blood-brain barrier, give you that lift, start your day. You feel like, you're able to conquer things. I mean, that is my favorite product. I have them right by my bed. So I take them first thing in the morning when I get up at 6:30 or 7 and put my day together, because I have a lot between going. I still take ongoing seminars, and between those and a business class I'm taking, and then just all the other things that, I try to follow up with. My life is full of people. And I mean, a lot of the life priority customers we've had for almost 30 years. So we've built a very loyal, a very healthy group that, they'll ask us things because they trust us. And of course, we're going to tell them the truth on what we feel, what we know, and what we don't know. And see, that's the key with Dirk. As brilliant as a mind as he is, and out of everybody that I've met in the whole world, he is the most brilliant man I've ever met. He will tell me if he doesn't have an answer and get back with me like 3 to 4 days later. He'll do the research. He doesn't just make stuff up to appease me. I'll write the question out, send it to him in an email. And they've just been phenomenal with the information. And you and I both know that the brain is the most important organ that we have. It functions properly, the rest of our body's gonna, follow suit.
Absolutely. It affects how our hormones balance. It regulates our central nervous system, blood flow. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. I am new to Life Priority, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the 2 products that I'm taking. I'm taking Ageless. I just started that.
Yes.
Michelle's laughing because I got it last week. And I've been doing this a long time to know when I see a shift, because I pay attention to my stuff. And I've already noticed that I have less aches and pains when I get out of bed in the morning. Now, I'm 55 years old. I'm postmenopausal, but I still get up and I exercise every day. But I noticed that I was a little more rusty, doing my yoga and stuff like that. And it would take me a little longer to warm up. And I've noticed this week, after being on the Ageless product for about a week, that I'm feeling, the answer is less inflammation. I'm going to say, stiffness, pain, and things like that. But the answer is less inflammation. Can we talk a little bit about Ageless? Because I find that product fascinating. I know I'm a nerd, so I could go really, really deep. But what is Ageless, and what mechanism does it affect? What is it that we're doing with that product?
The body has a natural aging process, and all the things that we've put into our body over the years can have negative effects. And it helps with the glycogen end products that we've taken that may put us closer to having issues with unregulated insulin. So that's one of the things that it's very beneficial in doing. You take it with food. Dirk created it 8 years ago. He noticed that his insulin issues were just a little questionable, and that's what he designed to fix it. And we love it. We have to be very careful we don't tread on any health issues, relating to insulin, like diabetes or any of that stuff, because that's not where it goes. But it's got some properties that really can work against some of the damage that has potentially been done with your body, and being ageless.
Yeah. So
That's how it got its name.
absolutely. One of the things I understand about it that is that we tend to have things that accumulate that oftentimes the body can't slough off like it used to be able to
Right.
in our youth. And that's what Ageless is really good about, is that accumulate. We're going to call it gunk because, the general population's not going to understand all of the other terminology, but we have this gunk that accumulates in our body just from daily living, from the foods that we eat, from the things that we do. And I like how this particular product was formulated to help get rid of the gunk so that basically your body just works better. And that's what it's doing, in my understanding of it. Is that a fair assessment to say we're cleaning out the gunk so that my body works more efficiently? Is that a fair statement?
And you know what? You can say that. For me, being the owner of a health and nutrition company, my hands are kind of tied behind my back in that. But I would say that you gave it a pretty good analogy.
Thank you. I mean, obviously there's no science there, so nobody's going to come after me. Gunk and efficiency, I don't think are, going to get me in too much trouble, but that's my understanding of it. And of course, my background is in health and nutrition, so I understand the cleaning out the gunk so that the body works more efficiently. And when you give the body what it needs, you guys, it really is a miraculous being. I want to focus on how kick-ass our bodies really are. And we tend to, second we have some sort of pain or inflammation, or we get really discouraged. My body's falling apart. My body's broken. I'm already past this point of no return. And it's just not true. We just heard Michelle talk about the 2 accidents that she's been in. I know Shannon's heard my story about getting really, really sick, going through caregiving with my mom, and then going through the perimenopause and postmenopause journey. And your body can come back, and mine has. It's a little heavier than it was before we started this, but it's still a lot. I mean, I'm feeling so good compared to I was 3 years ago. So if you don't hear anything we say, it's never too late to start to focus on health and well-being. And if you've tried supplementation in the past and it didn't work for you, it's not because supplementation is not effective. It's because you weren't matched to the right product for your particular issue.
That's an excellent way to put it, Stephanie. Excellent way.
Shannon, what do you have to add to that?
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I've come back from endometriosis, taking me out, not being able to function, take care of myself, my dog, work, things of that sort. So I echo what you were both saying and love it. And it, again, the quality of supplements is just as important as the quality of food. Don't expect having a boxed diet is going to get you anywhere. It's just the same as cheap supplements, because you'll just poop them out.
Right. And supplementation is not to replace a healthy diet. It's to complement.
Yes.
Like Michelle
used the insurance policy
absolutely
that guarantees that you're covered.
Yeah.
You can't supplement a bad diet.
Right.
Say that again, Shannon. That was awesome.
You can't supplement a bad diet.
Yeah.
True.
It's so true. It's so true. So it's not a panacea. You still have to take care of yourself. You have to focus on your health. But if you're one of those people that's like, I've tried everything. I do the diet. I do the exercise. I do the meditation. I do the breathing. I drink the water. I've given up all my vices and I still feel like shit. Maybe supplementation could be something that could support your journey. And that's something that I want to point out. Yeah.
Well, it's so funny. I have a lot of little old ladies that run out of energy, and we give lift caps in some of our bottles at samples at certain times, and they'll call me, and I've had a couple of them go, "Is that stuff legal?" I felt so good. I cleaned out my closet. I haven't cleaned out my closet in 30 years. And I'm like, that's why I love it, is because it made a difference in how I felt. And it just gave me the positive energy boost to tackle what I needed to tackle.
Well, and I truly believe when you feel well, you are able to fully express your life purpose. I think when we don't feel well, we just drag our bodies, through day to day activities. And when you really feel well, you're able to connect to that that enthusiasm, that motivation, that
Sure.
life purpose. And so to me, it's not just about a physical being. I think it's about a ripple effect on raising the vibration of this planet. And, us all kind of joining hands and allowing people to live the fullest expression of who they are.
Yep.
And we laugh about cleaning out a closet, but if you've got the energy to clean out a closet, you've got the energy to do other things that interest you as well. And oftentimes we don't even have enough energy to do what's on our to-do list, let alone what's on our desire list, those things that we wish for. So it's a bigger picture for me. And I think it is for everybody on this podcast, making a difference like that. I know we've come close to an hour. Is there any other last minute things that we want to talk about before we wrap this up?
I just want to invite everybody, if you're interested in trying something, let me know. Let's create a code per this show, per Shannon. And that way, if people, they're going to recommend some supplements to somebody, the coaches will. And you should recommend to people things that you use. And, like I said, we're open. We'll give you some lift caps to sample yourself. But let's come up with a code, ladies, and we'll be glad to help anybody, have a better introduction. I mean, we're here to help you. We want to help you. And, it's all about creating a team and the support system, to help our clients.
Excellent. Shannon, any last minute words?
I do want to tread lightly, and I am not authorized to prescribe any supplements. I can share my story and what has helped me, and I can share the documentation and the studies that I have found on the reputable websites and from companies and things of that sort. I will not be telling any of my clients, yes, you have to take this in order, omegas. You have to take omegas in order for your inflammation to go down. But I can tell you that there are many write-ups, and I can share that with you. And if you choose to buy them, absolutely. I know of a great resource on where to get them, and that would be Life Priority. I believe is it lifepriority.com, Michelle?
It is.
Yes.
Well,
okay.
And, going through all the FDA stuff, we've gone through 4 inspections, and it's like having the IRS come and sit at your house and look around and try to figure out, how much you owe them. And it's very intimidating, but they have the right to do whatever they want. They can shut you down. They can take things off the market. And the thing is vitamins and supplements were not designed to cure, diagnose diseases. We are here to give people a complimentary choice along with their physicians or their healthcare provider, that if they're not getting things in their diet, let's look at supplements and ensure that healthy lifestyle. Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I agree. Supplementation is not here to cure any disease states. But just like if you look at your car, if you've been putting a sub-quality oil in your car, you could be doing everything right. The car could be working really well and the fuel could be really great. But if you don't have the right type of oil that's good for your car, and then all of a sudden you change out that oil and you notice it's running more efficiently, you're getting better gas mileage, we didn't do anything different. We just supported what that car was already needing. And so that's what supplementation is. It's not a panacea, but it is something that can support, the efficiency and well-being. So we're excited that we had this conversation. Maybe we'll come back some other time and get in a little bit deeper with, as health coaches, a little bit deeper about, some of the things that we love. But there's questionnaire, Michelle, on your website, and then, we can do some coaching.
Correct. Yeah. Call our 800 number. They can go to my Calendly for a consultation. If they want to get a hold of Shannon, if somebody's got some issues with digestive enzymes or hormones, or Stephanie, any of the things, the resources that we can give our clients, that's where we win, is when we help people be healthier and feel better.
Absolutely. Well, and that, I think, is a great place to end this, because I think every one of us feel that way. So, Michelle, thank you so much for being our guest tonight. Shannon, thank you for introducing us to Michelle. I just met Michelle in the last couple of months through Shannon. Yeah. So that's what I love about what we do. We reach out, we connect, and it's one of those things that we all have the same goal and passion, to serve, to make this place, to not just make people healthier, but we know that when people are healthier, they're happier, and the planet itself, becomes a better place. So thank you so much, everybody. We'll make sure that we have some links that are in the podcast information when it goes live, and we'll make sure that you guys get the information. All right.
Great.
Everybody have a good night, and we'll catch you back here at the Holistic Health Front podcast next time. Bye for now.
Thanks, ladies. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.